Greetings and welcome to Basketball Rules Expert. We are live from the beautiful Better Official World Headquarters here in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area. I'm accompanied by my elite tech team who's making all of the things happen as we go live and talk about the rules, National Federation of High School Basketball rules to be specific. Awesome. We are in the house. We are feeling good. It's a beautiful day. A little crisp here in the outer area of the San Francisco Bay Area. Hope everyone is well. But of course, crisp for me, that's t-shirts, t-shirt weather for you in many parts of the country. I appreciate everybody joining today. Whew. Yeah, we are good to go. Steve J is in the house. Good to see you, Steve. And Joe Rasa from St. Louis. Oh, Missouri's going to dominate the chat here. I can see it. And Mike Myers, the correct counsel. Yes, hit the like button right now. Let's all do it. Can I do it? No, I can't do it. We will make this stream blow up. Awesome. Martin Tim is in the house. Excellent. Great varsity game last night. Second largest high school gym in the United States in Seymour, Indiana. Nice. Hope the game went well. I hope it was like, large, but, full. That's even more exciting. Ted is, he's on the lawn chair in the front, shirt off, basking in the 22 degrees weather in South Dakota. Joe has a question. Joe, let me get to that. So you have a situation where you have an administrative technical foul and the opposing coach says, don't enforce that, right? So how do we go about handling that? Right, let's say a player was not in the book, has to be added to the book, etc. Right? That's an administrative technical. It's going to be 2 free throws. Coach, I need a shooter. He said, I don't want to do that. All right. What do we do? Well, we're going to assess the technical foul. Right? We're going to do things by rule. Now, what's your opportunity, coach? I would say, coach, have your player violate twice. Just have them violate, right? Then you'll get the ball. If you want to throw the ball to the other team after that fact, you can do whatever you want, right? If you want to avoid the penalty part of the technical foul, just simply have your player violate twice. Tell them to step over the line, right? The shooter, that's a simple way to end the free throws, without, shooting an air ball, etc. Just have them violate. And then you're going to get the ball for a division line throw-in. What you do from there is, in soccer, of course, there's playing the ball back to your opponent on purpose in certain situations. Can't really think of those situations. So that's the way I would handle it. We're going to assess the technical foul, give them counsel if they want to avoid the penalty portion of things. This could be at the beginning of the game scenario as well. A team wants to, like let's say the throwing of toilet paper after the first goal or something like that, and the team says, hey, we're in with this 100%, and we don't want any penalty to the opposing to the team that does it. This is a way to counsel teams how they can get through that situation without incurring a penalty to the opponent. So that's what I would say in that situation. Others may have something different. Patrick, Greg is late. Is that an accurate assessment? What is late? Are we within just a few moments after 7? I think we got started here in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area. It's bright and early. I still have Mr. Sandman has visited me. We are fresh, rolled out. Well, I actually had a lengthy pregame with my elite tech team. It's true. It's true. Interesting. Okay, I got to take a brief time out here. Thanks for that. Hey, I got a little tech problem that my tech team has not taken care of. Ay, ay, ay. Thanks, Coach. Thanks. Yeah, so when we officiate freshman games, if we are, used to officiating varsity games and beyond, and we work freshman games, what I always tell my partners going into the games, especially if they're a younger official, is like the teams, everybody in this game does not know. Nobody knows, right? Coaches don't know necessarily how high school basketball is approached. The players are brand new to high school basketball. The parents brand new to high school basketball, etc. Right? And so one of the things that we can do in that situation is, really nail things down and do things properly and efficiently at that level. They may not be used to that, but it gives them some exposure in that way. I remember I had a freshman. I had a freshman game. I've got the captains, right? And I say, take care. I counsel them to take care of their team. If anybody, get to them before we have to, etc. In a pregame discussion, and then we have a situation in the game where we have a player who's acting out on the court. I say, Captain, go get your player. And he said, but ref, you made the wrong call. No, that's not your role here, son. Yeah. Richard Masterson, after calling a technical foul because of a second delay of game situation, is a subsequent delay of game another technical foul? Yes, it is. Randy Hubbard jumping in from Kansas. Good to see you. Always take the under. You are thinking about the past. We have to think about the future and the present. We have to leave that previous late starting time behind. This is not a thing anymore. Thomas is in the house from PA. Good to see you. Ed Leverich, Michigan. Awesome. Rhode Island. Wow. How many officials are there in Rhode Island? Not the largest of states. Unlike Connecticut, where Billy Mack dominates that small little corner. Tom Hickey, good to see you. Awesome. Mike Goodwin jumping in from Alaska. Oh boy, oh boy. Is there any truth to that statement? Maybe. Larry Morell, question, when would you assess a technical foul for the coach not having a substitute ready to check in after the notification of the fifth foul? Well, NFHS says this is a problem area. Well, it was a point of emphasis. And by rule, the coach must have the substitute ready by the second horn, which will occur 15 seconds after the first horn in a disqualified player scenario. So hard line, right? Coach, that player has 5. Give me a horn. 15 seconds later, there's a second horn. There is no substitute yet at the table. That's a technical foul. Direct on the head coach. Of course, at this point, we still need the substitute before we're going to proceed. If we have an animosity situation, we may want to peel back and allow maybe a partner to come in and say, Coach, I need that substitute, etc. That's the hardline approach. Another approach would be to, when that second horn occurs, we are now, maybe the substitute is moving to to report at the table. The problem is, this is a situation where coaches tend to want to act out. You have put a disqualifying foul on their player. Maybe they do not agree with your call. This is a moment of frustration for them, and they're going to act out. That's why NFHS says, hey, instead of 20 seconds, we're going to reduce it to 15, and we're going to make it a point of emphasis that they must produce that substitute within 15, because coaches are like, I get my 30 seconds. Yeah, come on over, everybody. We're going to have a faux timeout, right, where I'm going to say things, even though we're not treating it as a timeout, but I want to act out and show you that I'm disapproving of your call and disqualifying my player, and so I'm going to act out, right? So when we have a situation where a coach is acting out, this is when the situation is ripe for a technical foul. If they are, let's say obstinate in that moment, but in the end capitulating and say, I got my vocabulary out this morning. If we've got obstinate and capitulating in close proximity, this is good stuff. So that's what I would say about that, Larry, is, every situation is going to be different. NFHS says we want to tamp down this delaying action by coaches and, penalize appropriately. Steve, I don't know where that is. I don't know where Tracktown, USA is. I do not know. Mike Connors, taunting from Florida to our snowed-in, frigid brethren around the country. Sunny in Florida. Oh, excellent. Harry had the game, walk-off, buzzer-beating three-pointer. Excellent. Wow. Well, again, Larry, I would say just recognize the situation. Yeah. You have not seen, obviously have not seen my games. I have assessed technical fouls in this situation, but at the same time, I'm usually managing the interval. When I get the second horn, Coach, I need that substitute. And that's really their opportunity, right? And if they are recognizing and sending a sub, that you lose games for assessing this technical at higher levels. I would say we just don't want to be gotcha. Oh, gotcha. There's the horn. Oh, I got you, right? And assess the technical foul. But I think NFHS was very clear with what they wanted when they changed the interval from 20 seconds down to 15. It's just to prevent this acting out moment for coaches, right? They know that a substitute is required, but they want to act out and delay to, display their frustration. So we could see why we would penalize that. Good morning, Charles. Good to see you. Of course, Pittsburgh is in the house. Pennsylvania is stepping up. Okay, so you basically, Larry, you're describing the situation where we've got that coach acting out. Um, and that is exactly why the rule was changed, or the interval was changed. Excellent. And Chris Janish is here so we can get started. Oh. Ay, ay, ay. Well, you're always faced with the scenario is your assigner says, this is what I want, right? And you know what they want. So we know, I guess the assigner would say, I want you to bend over backwards in this situation and avoid the technical foul at all cost, right? Or not at all cost, but, avoid the technical foul, give them leeway, allow them to vent, etc. This is, but that's your assigner and that's what they want. So that puts you in a bit of a bind. Mark is on the right account today. Excellent. Champaign, Illinois. John Howard, good to see you. Michael Hogg, good to see you. Jacob is tossing coaches. Sounds messy. I had a super easy game last night. Good crew. We didn't expect a competitive game. This was a collegiate game. Expected it to be like a 25-point game. But the first half, competitive, very competitive. One team played down to the level of the other. In the second half, it went as we expected. Oh, okay. I got you. Excellent. Shot clock's coming, Steve. Shot clock's coming. John Howard, the restricted area is in effect in Minnesota at the varsity level, I believe. I do not expect it to become prevalent in high school. No. Thomas, I'm confused by that. No, that is not correct. The interval is 15. We have a horn to initiate the interval and then a horn at the end of the interval. By rule, I'm standing by that. I don't know what it may have been in the past, but that's what we're sticking with. Coach approached Jacob at the table, yelling and ordering me how to report immediately. All right, so that's the first technical, and then what? You let me know. Thomas says, always good common sense. Yeah, so when we assess a technical foul, some of them we cannot avoid. The administrative technical by rule, etc. Oftentimes we want to say, will an assessing a technical foul in this situation make the game better? When we have some flexibility, when some judgment is involved or some fluidity in an interval to replace a substitute. Excellent. Dirk, you got to go to Rule 4 for obstinate and capitulating. And Billy Mack has it right. There you go. Oh, okay. So you may have something different at the local level. I appreciate that. Okay, cool. I think I'm catching up. Vander Kane. Didn't he used to play for the Sharks here in the Bay Area? Yeah, so if we do assess that technical foul, we're going to still have the situation where before the game can proceed, we need that substitute. So in that situation, if we're assessing a technical foul for failing to produce that substitute, I would say the calling official should then vacate the table area and allow their partner to come in and get the substitute in that situation. That way, if we have a coach who's reacting to the technical foul by, stepping on the court or yelling across the court, etc., messy situation if we had that. But that's what we have. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let's get in position and get this show going. Might be a shorter show today. Who was asking about the timeout? Oh, Michael. Yeah. So the game cannot proceed in any way, shape, or form until the substitute is produced. As everyone has said, Greg's got a very common sense approach, right? Coach, that's the second horn. I have to have that substitute now or else I must penalize, right? We give them that leeway with our language, etc., a little more time. And what their reaction is there to that very professional and generous request on our part. I mean, I had a collegiate game, actually with one of my coaches from my last night's game several years ago. Coach, that player has 5, wanted to discuss I wanted to say veracity, but it's too early. The vocabulary is flowing. Of the call, wanted to discuss the call. I said, Coach, I have to have that substitute first, right? Ultimately, there was a clipboard involved that was tossed onto the floor, and we assessed a technical foul in that situation. For that, I felt I had no option if they're going to toss a clipboard on the floor in response, but we cannot have a timeout until that's dealt with. All right, cool. All right, let me check. Tech teams. Start of the show. Okay. All right. I got my rules book. Oh, I think I'm ready to go. Give me just a moment. Oh, Jacob's play, it got started because he said, get back here and report the foul. Well, Jacob, what I would say is, remember on 5 Play Friday, our last episode, we had a technical foul situation, where the, first there was a warning to the coach to get back into the box. The coach persists, uses some language, etc. The official reacts sort of abruptly, assesses a technical foul, and immediately moves to the division line, right? Creating space between and sort of allowing the coach to settle. His partner had an opportunity to come in, etc. So, just like in the situation where if we assessed a technical foul because of failing to produce a substitute, maybe in that instance, the best approach, rather than we have tension and proximity, maybe, after that situation, maybe I'm going to move away. And maybe it's artificially moving away because I have to come back and report the technical foul, right? But it's a technique that maybe in this situation could have led to, not having to eject the coach, but of course the coach's behavior, right? So we have a situation where we can do things on the court that can, keep the participants from an easy, it's so easy for them in that instance to not stop and do something additional. And obviously they are responsible for their action. It's all on them, but there's techniques that we can have that sort of force them to, consider the situation for a moment, right? Just like when we're working with a crew and we want to slow our partner down, we want to give them a moment to consider, right? Give people to consider, okay, my actions will lead to something. So, in retrospect, maybe, assessing the technical foul and moving away would allow them a moment to, and something, and then they, oh, God darn it. I got a situation here. Because then I do that. Hold on. Ay. What? I got to get this show started. Why are we here? We're here to look at play scenarios, get better, refine our understanding of the rules, National Federation of High School Basketball rules. When are we going to do that? We're going to do it right now. Stick around. Greetings. Welcome back to the Basketball Rules Expert. We look at play scenarios so we can refine our understanding of National Federation of High School Basketball rules. When shall we start? Let's start right now. A1 is outside the three-point arc and throws a pass towards a cutting A2 in the lane area. The ball deflects off of the defender. B2's head bounces in the air and then goes in the basket. The officials rule this to be a three-point goal and rule it a legal play. Were the officials correct? Yes or no, right? So we've had this play scenario previously. We've had it on 5 Play Friday, and we're going to review it today. And some variables, some various variations off of the play, right? So in this situation, a pass was thrown from behind the three-point arc. It hits a defender. Hold on one second. Hits a defender either in their head, their arm, etc., bounces high into the air and passes through the goal. The officials rule this to be a three-point goal. This is the correct ruling on this play. National Federation of High Schools says any thrown ball, thrown past, specifically recognizing that it can be a pass, or shot from behind the three-point arc that contacts a defender within or outside the three-point arc shall be counted as a three-point goal. So in this instance, where the officials ruled a three-point goal, in this instance, were they correct? Yes. Yes, they were. This is a three-point goal by rule. This brings up all sorts of questions as it applies. Well, wait a minute, right? It's a head-scratcher, right? This was not a try-for goal, and yet it passed through the basket. This is the correct ruling in this instance. And we're going to have a couple of variations off that on subsequent plays. But this play was correctly adjudicated by our crew. We are going to have variations off of this play. Kamali Rowan in the house. Good to see you, Kamali. I don't know what that means. Thomas, no. No, it does not. No, it does not. When do we mark a 3-point try for goal, right? So officials have the ability to make judgments about whether a play is a try or not, and that'll be key to our subsequent plays. Was this a try for goal? No. Did the ball pass through the basket? Yes. Does case play tell us to score 3 points in this situation? Yes, right? Even though a try is an attempt to score, put the ball in the basket, and a 3-point goal is a try that does these things, it creates a little discrepancy in the rules, right? But specifically in this situation, we're instructed to count this as a 3-point goal. So in this instance, the officials got it right, but let's look at some variations on this scenario. A1 is outside the 3-point arc and throws a pass towards a cutting A2 in the lane area. The ball deflects off of defender B2's head, caroms off the ring, and into the back court where A3 recovers the ball. The officials rule this to be a legal play. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Sounds very similar to our previous play scenario. Ball is thrown. A defender either bats the ball, or in this instance, it hits off of their head. That's got to hurt, man. If it had enough force to hit their head, carom off of the ring and into the back court, right? And this is ruled to be a legal play. Is this a legal play? We had team control in the front court. I should have added something to this play. We had team control in the front court. Who was the last to contact the basketball before it went into the back court? The opponent. It caromed off of their head, hit the ring, bounced into the back court, and the team recovered the ball. Had this instead, let's say, caromed off the head, the ring, and a player from the offense tipped the ball, and then it went into the backcourt, they would have been the last to touch. Our correct ruling in this scenario is the officials were correct. Even though this was not a try for goal, the opponent was the last to touch in the front court. If Team A had touched the ball in the front court in this situation, it would have been a backcourt violation. But in this instance, were the officials correct? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. This would not be a backcourt violation by rule. We could easily see a scenario where we could have a backcourt violation, because in a situation where the ball contacts the ring, usually it's because there is a try. And if we have a try, there's no team control by rule. But in this instance, even though if the ball had passed through the goal, it would have counted as 3, it is not a try by rule. That's what we have there. I meant to have it be a backcourt play. Isaiah, if the pass bounces off the teammate's head and the teammate is within the 3-point arc and it passes through the basket, then our instruction by case play is that is a 2-point goal. If it hits the defender and passes through the basket, it is a 3-point goal. If we're talking about this backcourt play, throw it to a teammate, that actually would have worked as well. The teammate hits their head, caroms, right? Then who was the last to touch in the front court? Right, we have team control in the front court. Who was the last to touch in the front court? Who was the first to touch in the back court? We would have a backcourt violation in that situation. Yes, Greg. Yes, that is, of course, the problem. That, of course, is the problem. It's a shoehorning by NFHS. Where things just don't jibe. And again, Rick, that becomes a judgment on this play. Just because a ball contact, for those who have shot clocks, just because a ball contacts the ring does not mean there's a reset of the shot clock. The shot clock is reset when a try for goal contacts the ring. So so judgment comes into play, right? You get situations where players throw the ball, defender tips the ball, it contacts the ring, etc. Have to be ready in those situations. Yeah. Yeah. I avoided saying backboard in this situation. Right, Dirk, but the problem is this was not a try for goal, right? This was a pass to a teammate. Judgment comes into play there. Lost Lake, if a trainer treats a bloody jersey with hydrogen peroxide or disinfectant, is that enough to keep the jersey on? I had a blood situation the other day in my game. Actually, the head coach for the player who was attempting their free throws says, hey, my shooter's bleeding, right? So I stop. I was trail. I had called the foul on the play. Go and I say, I go to the shooter. I say, are you bleeding? And he said, no, I'm good. And he had a black undershirt, but he had a bloody nose. Right, it started bleeding again, and he said, yeah, I'm bleeding. So of course, in this situation, we direct that player to leave the game because they are bleeding. Right. The coach was out of timeouts at this point. I knew that fact. Right. So we can't buy that player in with a timeout. Substitute will come in and attempt their free throws. This leads to confusion with the opposing coach. But also one of my partners then says, hey, white 22, you've got blood on his jersey, right? That player, it goes towards his bench. That player is directed to leave the game. We must have a substitute for that player in that situation. That team had timeouts. If they had used a timeout, they could buy their player in, but their timeout would not buy the shooter in if they were able to correct those situations. Both players had their situations remedied by the time the second free throw was to be attempted. Both players wanted to re-enter the game. Of course, they cannot re-enter the game until the clock properly starts. This was a little, let's run through all of the things scenario in my game. But we nailed it. We nailed it. I hope. So what I would say is I'm not going to examine the quality of the reparation of repairing the situation. I'm not going to be like have a loop out and say, wait a minute, I can detect some blood, right? If they come back in the game and we still detect that situation, but I'm not giving them an inspection to come back into the game. That's me. That's me. Although NFHS is very serious about blood situations. So I don't think that was the situation. A timeout for a bleeding player or an injured player, a timeout can be requested, and if the player is able to play and their situation has been remedied in the case of blood, then they can they can stay in the game in that situation, right? So we have the bleeding player. If the coach had timeouts available to him, coach, I need a substitute unless you request a timeout and can repair the situation, right? I don't know if that's the correct verbiage for NFHS. That's a practical approach. And the coach either produces a sub or requests a timeout. I could have done that with the white player. I did not. I did not offer them the timeout option. All right, Tim, thanks for joining. Yeah, I probably should have done that. I didn't. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? All right, 2 variations on the play. Let's take a look at another one. With only seconds remaining, A1 is outside the 3-point arc and throws a pass towards a cutting A2 in the lane area. The ball deflects off of defender B2's outstretched arm high into the air and then goes through the basket just after the horn sounds. The officials rule this to be a successful 3-point goal. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Wow. Horn sounds while the ball is in the air, and then it passes through the goal. The officials, knowing that any thrown ball from behind the 3-point line that contacts the defender within the 3-point line is to be ruled a 3-point goal if the ball passes through the basket. But this gets to the nub of the situation. Even though it would, if it passes through the basket, count as 3 points, was this a try for goal? When does the ball become dead in this situation? We know that when a try is in flight, the ball does not become dead when the horn sounds. But if this is not a try, then the ball would become dead when the horn sounds. So in this situation, were the officials correct? Yes or no? This is a good one. This is my interpretation on this play. In my interpretation, were the officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. Since this was not a try for goal, the ball became dead when it was in flight, just as a pass to a teammate would become dead when the ball is in flight, when the horn sounds. If this was a try, then the ball would not become dead. But by rule in this situation, it is not a try, even though if during the ball was still live and the clock was still running, it would count as 3 points. So that's sort of the takeaway in this situation. The shoehorning of putting 3 points for the situation of deflection that goes in, that's prescribed by case play for National Federation of High School Basketball rules, but we still can make judgments about whether this was a try or not. So in this situation, our officials, what did they rule? In ruling a successful 3-point goal, our officials were not correct. Ay, ay, ay. That's what I have on this play. Looks like we have confirmation. Well, Zooch, that's a good approach to often take in rules question scenarios. And you could use that in casual conversation. Well, I can tell you this. I agree with Mike Connors. And people of a certain age will be like, what? Mike Connors? Oh. Tom Hickey says, would be an awkward situation if the trail signaled a made 3 while the lead said no goal, right? But this would be a great, right? The ball is dead. After this occurs, we have a disagreement between the officials in that situation. This is an easy situation for us to fix, right? Or would it be a correctable error if this was the end of the first period and then we started the second period with a subsequent throw in, and then one of the officials said, hey, wait a minute, before we go any further, because we are either erroneously counting or canceling a goal in that situation. But this would be a situation where the officials are going to get together. Official A, the trail, says, hey, any thrown ball, right? But official B says, no, the ball became dead. It was not a try. not a try by rule. Yes, yes. Well, I have no fear of. Well, of course. I, in the end, I have the ultimate power of editing. If I make a disastrous mistake, not that that's ever happened on this show, I can fix it in post. Ed Leverage brings up the scenario I think that is adjacent to this play. Is long distance buzzer beater. The ball rebounds from the floor after the buzzer through the ring. We know it isn't a goal. What if the order is try, floor, buzzer, ring? Try, floor, buzzer. Ed, so, of course, we've had that play on 5. Don't make me go to the music again. Jeez. I've got an app problem. And it really screws things up. I'm gonna do that. Not happy. Huh. Right. If we have a try for goal, the horn sound, the ball is in flight. Either the horn sounds, it bounces and goes in, or bounces, horn sounds, and goes in. And of course, it has to pass through the basket, since once the try has ended by obviously not being successful or by contacting the floor, the try has ended, no longer a try. The ball becomes dead at the horn. Run rides reps, first year official. We can make this easy. I suck at calling travels. Any advice? Yes. Note which foot is the pivot. Think of it as it's a process, right? I'm going to become really good at traveling violations, knowing when a player travels and when they don't. The first step is understanding which of their feet is the pivot foot, right? And I'm out in the game and I'm officiating all sorts of things, and it's like I don't have the ability to quite pick that up. Watch video. Just watch a high school game on video. Each time a player catches the ball, identify the pivot foot by their actions. Identify the pivot foot. You get reps that way. That's an easy way. And then in your game, each and every time a player catches the ball, identify the pivot foot. Right? That's step number 1. Step number 2 is understand what the restrictions are, what's allowed and what's not allowed, and then start putting things together. Right? Well, they obviously lifted their pivot foot before they put the dribble down, or they switched their pivot feet. Right? Sometimes when that happens, it's like there's a delay. I think I had a situation last night where a player switched their pivot feet, but she was, holding the ball on my count is at 3, and then she takes an action, and so time has passed. Do I really remember which was the pivot foot? But that's the first step. You have to understand which foot is the pivot foot. So that would be my advice, and then go from there. I think the try ends, even though by rule it ends when it hits the floor. I think it ends before that, because it ends when it's obvious the try will not be successful, and that occurs, of course, before it contacts the floor. So the try has ended. That's the key component. And so if the horn sounds before the ball has passed through the basket, that would be something. If you had that play, it bounces, it's up, the horn sounds just as it's in, like right here on the basket. Ooh, that'd be a boom, you're coming in wiping that like that. I got you. Yeah, you do the opposite, right? Because you're a first-year official. That's absolutely 100% what you would expect, right? That is, what each and every official who's started has gone through is understanding the sort of the priority of the things that they're evaluating, right? I'm officiating the game, man. I don't have time to check the pivot foot, etc. So that is completely natural and something that every official goes through, the ability to, identify the pivot foot. And so you'll have some officials who, even after they have experienced many years of officiating, are not very good at that. And I would say, I counsel you is just watch your game on video. Of course, that's the number one way to improve. But just watch plays. Just watch plays. Pivot foot, left foot, right foot, right foot. You get in a high school game, how many opportunities do you have to make that decision? Hundreds, possibly, at least 100. I mean, every time a player catches the ball and they catch the ball, they have 2 feet on the floor, which is the pivot foot. They do not have a pivot foot, but they take an action by moving one of their feet, and now they have established a pivot foot. So I've made a decision. Okay, yeah, right? Here's a tricky one. Oh yeah, I see what it is, and go from there. Dirk offering counsel. Yeah. We don't want to be overly officious with younger officials, or with younger players, rather. And if we are a first-year official, we're probably, doing lower-level games, etc. So those two things can go hand in hand. Yes, Jacob says, identifying the pivot foot. I think it does. I think it's easy to call obvious travels, especially after you've identified the pivot foot, and of course, understanding what is a travel will help prevent calling things because they look funny, right? Some officials, well, if it looks funny, I put a whistle on it, and it's worked for me, and I don't have to spend all that time identifying pivot feet, etc. That is a situation. Yeah, and another approach is just, I'm going to rule traveling when I'm certain it is traveling. If there's an element of doubt, I know it looked funny, I know the timing was what have you, but I didn't identify the pivot foot, then I'm not going to put a whistle on it. I'll call the obvious traveling plays when I know that it is a traveling violation. Yeah, Lance. What would happen if I didn't call this? Right? Like a player's moving east to west, marginal, probably a travel by rule, it was subtle, etc., as opposed to the player who catches the ball at the 3-point line, does some action with their feet that's illegal, and then drives to the basket. If we don't put a whistle in that situation, we'll almost certainly have a whistle subsequently. And so we could say, hey, that's more of a high priority, that illegal move on the perimeter that leads to a play at the basket. A1 shoots a layup as the ball is on the ring, as the defense slaps the backboard so hard, causing the ball to roll off as the fourth quarter sounds, ruling tech only. Thomas, of course, we cannot have basket interference or goaltending for slapping the backboard. National Federation of High School Basketball rules. If the judgment of the official is it was an attempt to block the shot, then this is a legal action by the defender. If not, it was not an attempt to block the shot, this would be a player technical foul. If Okay. All right. So we have a try for goal. Has the ball become dead when it's sitting on the ring and the player contacts? If the horn sounds in that situation, has the ball become dead? No, it has not. So the action would be a technical foul in that situation. That's a great scenario, though, because let's say our play where the ball bounced, hit the floor, and was up on the ring, and a player came in and the horn sounds, and then the player slaps the backboard, causing them or contacts the ball, right? Since it was not a try, the ball has become dead in that situation. That would be a great video scenario. Right. Basket interference. So my partner in that game where I had the bleeding players, one of my partners had basket interference. He said he contacted the ring ball. The ball was in the imaginary cylinder with the ring as its base. He said that after the fact, right? So this is a good situation, right? You're crew chief in this game. Your lead and your partner makes this call. You're not looking up. You don't have any information. Later at halftime, they explain that, or at the end of the first period, explain it to you on the court. What do? Do you counsel them that was a mistake by rule, or do you wait until after the game? Right? We don't want it to happen again, but we don't want to distract our official or from the game at hand. Interesting. How to be most effective in that situation. I chose to not bring it up until after the game. Cool. All right. So we've covered those. Let's go to another one. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Popeye. I think I want to go here. Hey, we've got a tremendous group of show supporters. Let's see who is up on the show supporter big board today. Dakota Ted, Jeff Crawford, David Peterson, Robert Adams, and Maureen Mooney. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? There'll always be a link down in the show notes below. And yep, I'm going to put one up above. I screwed that up. Keep screwing that up. I want to go there. All right. So we finished with the deflected ball that goes in the basket plays, whether it's a try or not. Let's move on to another play scenario. Team A has the ball in the front court. A2 and A3 set a screen near the sideline. A1 runs out of bounds around the screening players and receives a pass from the other side. The officials rule a player technical foul on A1. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? This sounds really, really familiar. I know there's a situation where a player runs around screening players, re-enters the court, receives the ball, and that's a player technical, but that's during a throw-in. This was not that situation. So what we have here is a situation where we have live ball. Teammate of the offensive player leaves the court, goes around a screen, and re-enters the court. Our officials ruled this a player technical foul. Were the officials correct in this instance? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. This is an out-of-bounds violation on our player who left the court and then returned to the court. Simply an out-of-bounds violation in this situation. That would be the correct ruling. We do have a play scenario where during a throw-in, a player releases throw-in pass, fails to return to the court immediately, goes to a more advantageous position around two screeners, re-enters the court at that point. During that throw-in scenario, that is a player technical foul. In this scenario, it is not. Appreciate you, Ted. Appreciate you. That's an existential question. Oh, excellent. Well, Thomas, the struggle is real. If you are a young official, right. So there's the controlling the controllables. What can I control? I can dominate the mechanics manual, and I can dominate the rules book. Great. And I'm a young official. I go out on the court. Well, wait a minute. I'm dominating the mechanics manual, but my partner's not quite doing what the mechanics manual says. What do I do? How do I handle that? How do we go about this? I know all the rules. How do you officiate the game based on the rules? I know what the rules are, but how do you officiate the plays based on the rules, right? I know what the definition of illegal screening is, but I see screening action that's sort of something, a player's leaning slightly. A player is extending an arm slightly away from their body. Is that a foul? Is that an illegal screen? Learning to officiate the game and officiate the rules and how to call plays takes time. It takes time. And I remember my very first year, a JV tournament game, final seconds, a free throw attempt. It was actually at the gym where I had my bloody players, right? The thrower has big feet, and when they move forward to release their try, their shoe slightly contacts the line. Is that a violation? Am I supposed to call that? Do we let that go? I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm a brand new official. I did call a violation. I kicked myself later. Yeah. It's a situation where, yeah. But you don't know. How do I call plays? How do I do the game, etc.? So it's easy for officials to be, I think, overly officious, just simply because they're doing the best that they can. They know what the rule is, and they see something that happened, and well, that's a violation by rule, right? So that's the challenge. Fair. Managing my tech team is a bit like herding kittens. A bit. There's some overlap there. A violation. So on our play, I've kind of left our play behind. Agree, show supporter, Dakota Ted. Excellent. Ooh. Billy Mack, is there a difference? Is my verbiage incorrect? Mike says 933. I'm open to Rule 9. Is my verbiage incorrect? Article 3. Yeah. A player shall not leave the court for an unauthorized reason. This is an out-of-bounds violation. Again, I'm a brand new official, and a player runs off of the court because of inadvertent contact and the momentum carries them out. Or am I supposed to be really precise here? I have a player who's running along the end line and their foot touches the line. Is that a violation? Am I supposed to rule that a violation? I know they cannot leave the court for an unauthorized reason, and they stepped on the line. Is that an out-of-bounds violation? Am I supposed to put a whistle on that play? I don't know, right? So there's challenges, just like there is with this. Ay. Killing me, Smalls. Ay. Roughing me up. It is not a delay of game warning to leave the court for an unauthorized reason. The centimeter. I appreciate you bringing up the centimeter for our Canadian friends. Gotcha. All right. An unauthorized leaving of the court, out of bounds violation by a rule. What's up in our next scenario? Let's take a look. Team members A11 and A12 are standing in the bench area during play despite a previous warning by the game officials that they remain seated. The officials assess bench technical fouls on both team members and 2 indirect fouls on to the head coach. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Well, players and team members are responsible for their behavior. The team had been warned that players must remain seated. These two did not get the message. Therefore, the officials say these 2 players are both going to receive technical fouls. Did our officials handle this play correctly? Right? So in this situation, we had 2 technical fouls on each of the team members and 2 indirects as a result on the head coach. Were the officials correct in this instance, yes or no? No, they were not. NFHS says when there are similar actions by team members, bench personnel, such as multiple players in this instance standing after, the correct assessment would be 1 technical foul, 1 bench technical foul to the team, and therefore 1 indirect technical foul to the head coach. They are responsible for the behavior of bench personnel. So in this situation, if we had 5 players who were standing, it would be a single bench technical foul and an indirect, therefore, on the head coach. That would be the correct ruling in this scenario. Now, that was well done. I liked everything about that. I'm happy. Despite my tech problems, that was smooth. We like the suspense, I think, of the were the officials correct? Yes. Announcers will say jump ball. Everybody, of course, you watch NBA games. It is a jump ball. the subsequent action. But it is a common vernacular. When we start saying held ball, because our partners are going to say jump ball. Jump, jump. Joe Raza had a JV coach yell 5 seconds while closely guarded in the back court. Well, Joe, fortunately, here in California, we now, of course, have shot clocks, and we now are using the shot clock for our 10-second count. Boy, it is, in the past, you want to be very disciplined about always having a 10-second count, even in a no-press situation. But we are freed. We are freed from that responsibility these days, and so that is something I really appreciate. Similar, of course, but different, Ed. Of course, in a fight scenario, if let's say our two standing players. Wait a minute. Are you presciently thinking of a 5-play Friday play we're going to have on Friday, where a fight scenario occurs and possibly players leave the bench but don't participate? Is that what I detect, Ed? You are correct. You are correct. In a fight scenario, of course, multiple players leave the bench. Let's say our two standing players in this instance, when a fight may break out, leave the bench area, don't participate. We treat that as one action by those groups, but of course, in that situation, both players would receive flagrant technical, be disqualified by rule. So that would be the difference. Excellent. That would be the difference, as Mike points out as well. Fight day, well, we got one. Jim, I am with you. I'm with you. In California, we have a 30-second shot clock for girls and a 35-second for boys, and I think that was done to mimic a mirror NCAA. But of course, NCAA men's has gone from 35 to 30 seconds on the shot clock, and California has not responded. It's interesting. It's interesting that they haven't done that. We're adopting utilizing the collegiate rule for utilizing the shot clock to help us with 10-second violations. So maybe. Yep. But developing that, Thomas, understanding, it just takes time. How do we call plays, right? And plus, I'm working on Tuesday. I'm working with a partner who says, no, that's a foul. We have to put whistles on that play. On Friday, I'm working with another partner, and they say, no, they could play through that contact, etc. We don't need a whistle on all those plays, right? So, as a young official, we're sorting all this information out. We're trying to develop a personal approach and understanding of how to apply the rules, which are very clear, to the game and officiate the game. The struggle is real, man. I remember vividly going through that myself over a decade ago. Huh. All right. A1 is at the free throw line for the first of a 1-and-1. While performing her habitual dribbles prior to the release, she accidentally allows the ball to deflect off of her foot and into the lane, where it rolls into the leg of B3 in a marked lane space. The officials sound a whistle and rule a free throw violation on A1. Play will resume with an AP throw-in on the end line. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? We've had this play before on Basketball Rules Expert, and I think I may have made an erroneous ruling, right? So in this situation, we are the first of 1 and 1, right? And something happens, and we ultimately end up going to the possession arrow. Would that be the correct ruling in this situation? Right? So I see. Okay. Yeah, okay. So we have the first and 1 and 1. Player has the ball at their disposal, dribbles it off of her foot, and it rolls away. The officials rule a violation, and since there was a violation on the first of a 1 and 1, they go to the possession arrow for the resulting throw-in. Were, in this instance, are the officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. This is a free throw violation by A1. What is the result of a violation on the first of 1 and 1? Would be a throw in to the opponent on the division line. That would be the correct ruling here. But it is, in the end, a free throw violation by the shooter. Our officials got that part correct, but the resulting throw-in was incorrectly executed. Okay. I think when I first did that question on Basketball Rules Expert, I said it was correct. I have learned, but I'm also going to go and do something here. Because I can. Ay, ay, ay. That team of mine. That team of mine. I am feeling it in my knee. Agreed. Agreed, Patrick. They're going to go on strict timeouts. You're saying when... yeah. You know what? Prior to A1's 2 free throws following a technical foul, the Team B coach tells their 5 players to stand directly behind the thrower and behind the three-point line. The officials instruct the players to move back to the division line for the free throws. Were the officials correct in this instance? Yes or no? Well, everybody knows you have to go back to the division line for technical foul free throws. I don't know why this is a question, because everybody knows that that's the case. Many officials know that to be the case, but of course, is that the correct ruling in this situation? What are the restrictions on players who are not in marked lane spaces? In this instance, the officials instructed our players to move back to the division line where everybody knows they should go. Were they correct? Yes or no? No, right? If we understand free throws, right, we understand the restrictions and where, who is allowed in marked lane spaces, and players who are not in marked lane spaces have restrictions. What are those restrictions? Above the free throw line extended and the three-point arc. Players who are in that place are legal by rule. When we have a technical foul free throw and there are no players in marked lane spaces, then all of the players besides the shooter are legal if they are behind the free throw line extended and the three-point arc semicircle, right? It's really straightforward. This is a common practice from far off long ago days that has become incorporated into officials' understanding. But of course, in this instance, those players may stand legally behind the free throw shooter, and it's as simple as that. If the intent, Ed, by standing behind was to potentially distract the shooter, that may be a result of them standing behind, but is that the response? Is that a distraction or disconcertion by the opponent in this situation? I would say, because throwers are they get to the line and you see they have habitual behavior. Some are extremely focused, right? They have a pre-shot routine and all of the things. Some of them are getting instructions from their coach, about what we're going to do subsequently. Some of them are talking or communicating or gesticulating to a teammate in a marked lane space, or they're having a discussion with an opponent, right? They can be affected by what else is going on in the game. Does that mean disconcertion has occurred? I would say no, not necessarily. Just because a player reacts, like maybe our thrower, they get the ball and they turn around because those four players are there, but the four players are just standing there. They're legally allowed to be there. Our thrower is brought it upon themselves if they find that to be a distraction. That would be my judgment on the play. Whoa. John, the rule is different for boys and girls. In California, girls, while dribbling the basketball, there is no closely guarded count. Again, mimicking the old NCAA women's rule, or the NCAA women's rule, but mimicking it when they incorporated the rule, I would assume. But for boys, 35-second shot clock, there is a closely guarded while dribbling. I assume mimicking NCAA men's at the time, but of course that has changed for NCAA men's, I believe. But so yes, we have closely guarded while dribbling for boys, to answer your question. I will say, I appreciate Dakota Ted being a fantastic show supporter. It would be phenomenal if, on the local front, there was an opportunity for a cup of coffee. I will say that. Let's see what happens. Oh, you'll see it again. You'll see it in your next game, right? And of course, the situation is that the players all move back because at some point they received some instruction that they must move back because everybody knows, right? Well, that's sort of the question that I have, Billy, is what if it rolls to a teammate? Can the teammate just toss it back to the thrower? I mean, we know that the player losing control, there's nothing in the rules that says they can't. Or the opponent. The opponent says, hey, you dropped this. And they toss the ball to the thrower, and it's within the 10 seconds. It seems logical to me. But I believe our instruction, the spirit and the intent of the rule is to rule a violation in this situation? Hello, Pupper. The tech team is in the building. Awesome. Awesome. I have to take them out of their remote studio setting. All right. Thank you. Thank you. For me. For me. Yeah, exactly, Thomas. Exactly. Right? Are we supposed to, spirit and intent? How do I officiate 3 seconds as a new official? The rules book is very clear. It says exactly how to officiate it, right? Yeah, yeah. I had this is great, Greg, because I was a young official. I was the center in a 3-person crew, a big game, playoff game. Hold on. A continuing drama here. Big game, and I'm center, and a player who was a star player ultimately ended up going to Louisville. She was really good. Really good. Dribble, bounces off her foot. My partner picks the ball up. I go to my partner. I didn't rule a violation. I go to my partner. I say, hey, that's violation by rule. And she's like, no, we're not calling that. I'm a young official. I say, okay, all right. Lesson learned. I'm supposed to say that. How many more plays do we have? I got 1, 2, 3. 3 more plays. A1 is shooting the first of a 1-and-1 bonus. A4 and A5 are positioned in the first 2 marked lane spaces near the end line, and B4 and B5 are positioned in the second marked lane spaces. The incorrect alignment is recognized by the officials just after the successful try goes through the basket. The officials rule a simultaneous violation and disallow the goal. Play will resume with an AP throw-in on the end line. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Well, this would be a fine how do you do if it happened in your game, right? We're all, as officials, we're all subject to taking a little me time, as we like to say, in free throw situations. We go through the motions, everything is very practiced, etc., but we may disconnect from the game. And in this situation, we've allowed an illegal configuration with players in marked lane spaces. Of course, the opponents of the thrower must occupy the first 2 lane spaces, and teammates of the thrower may occupy the second 2 lane spaces. But in this situation, the officials did not allow that to happen, or did not recognize that it had happened until the ball had successfully passed through the goal, and at that point they recognized the illegal configuration. And did they properly then say, wait a minute, that's a free throw violation? Were they correct in this instance, yes or no? No, they were not. It is an illegal configuration, but in order to properly correct it, it must be recognized within the interval where we are allowed to assess that penalty. When does a free throw end by rule? When the throwing team violates, when the ball passes through the goal, or when it is clear that the free throw attempt will not be successful. Those are the 3 ways in which a free throw ends. In this instance, had the free throw ended. That's the key component in understanding about whether or not we can assess a violation. Once the free throw has ended, we cannot assess a violation. So even though in this instance, the officials should have recognized the violation, at this point, it was too late to correct, and our officials got this one incorrect. Digging it. Billy Mack says, too late to penalize. You are correct, sir. Oh, absolutely. If it is a bad pass by the official, I will absolutely kill it. Reminds me of a situation. Again, young official. I was doing a game for Berkeley High, and they had a really good point guard. And she was really good and really a handful just to manage her behavior on the court, etc. And it was a hotly contested game, and I'm the lead, and I'm administering a free throw. But she wasn't quite ready, and so she had like reached down to touch her shoes, and my throw, it may have hit, when she bent over, it may have bounced off her head for a moment, and she picked up the ball and she gave me a look, and it's just like, yeah, why don't we reset that free throw? And the apologies flowed. Thomas, I think I understand your scenario. If we have disconcertion and subsequently an air ball, it would not be a double violation. The disconcertion would, or what's the other word for disconcertion? Distraction? Would come first. Excellent. Prior to having that question here on Rules Expert, would I be confident I would get that right in the game? No. No, I would not. No, I would not. And you see so many instances, and we're all guilty of it, right? Do we, what are we doing in various roles, in a 3-person crew, in a 2-person crew? What exactly are we officiating during the first free throw of 2, right? That's like when we're really vulnerable to missing things. In the first of 1-on-1, we would expect everybody to be switched on. No, he did not. He did not assess. We really try to be in tune with free throwers. It's very common nowadays for throwers to like stand outside the 3-point arc, and we need, and at their own timing, enter the semicircle. You want to be sensitive to, kind of like throwers who stand inbounds before stepping out of bounds on a throw-in, right? Because they've been instructed by their coach or they want to communicate with their team, etc. Just want to be sensitive to the timing, right? They're not allowed to overstep their bounds, but you just want to be sensitive to their timing as a shooter. If they need a moment, if they like to go to the line and do some pantomime action prior to getting the ball, being sensitive to that as well. Obviously not delaying the game. That's what we want. I like disconcertion better. Why? Because it's a good word. So what was our scenario? First of a one-on-one. Oh, it's first of one-on-one. If we, once the offensive team violates or is involved in a simultaneous violation, let me do that, and let me do that. Then the free throw has ended. If we have no subsequent free throw and a simultaneous violation, Ed, we would go alternating possession in that situation. I wear Hokas. Okay. Yeah. A1 is at the free throw line to attempt a final free throw. Just prior to release, the ball slips in A1's hands slightly, and they stop their attempt. B3 in a marked lane space steps into the lane. The officials rule a delayed lane violation on B3. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Right? So this seems really unfair, right? Our thrower is at the line, right? Everybody in marked lane spaces is anxious to get to the rebound as quickly as possible. Opponents of the thrower are going to be boxing out, trying to gain inside position. Everybody's like it's starters, the start of a race. Everybody's poised, ready, and the slightest change in timing by our thrower here caused the defender to enter early. The officials ruled a delayed violation on this play. Is that the correct ruling in this situation? Were our officials correct? Yes or no? I did that wrong. Oh, hold on. Oh, he had no one to blame but himself. I'm going to go there. Is this the correct ruling on this play? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, it is. As unfair as it may seem, right? If it was an involuntary action by the thrower, our opponents of the thrower are held to the standard that they must not violate in this situation until the ball is released by the thrower. A scenario that seems wildly unfair to our opponents of the thrower, but in this instance, the officials made the correct ruling. I got there eventually. What are you suggesting, Thomas, that earlier in the attempt, if the ball bounces off their foot, you're not calling a violation? Is that what you're suggesting? On the release. Hey, I appreciate that, Steve. Yeah. If you haven't already, hit the like button or hit the dislike button twice. No, don't do that. I don't know. I think YouTube says, hey, even if people don't like it, they're interacting. It is, Mike. It is grossly unfair. It's unfair. Yeah, well, that makes it easy. That makes it easy. If all 6 are going to go. Why can't I make this? Okay. Of course, our thrower is not allowed to fake the release. Ain't that the truth? Baby. All right. What do I have? One more play? Then we're out of here. I'm going to get out of. Oh, my knee is not happy this morning. Mike Goodwin's got a partial case play. Yep. I mean, just it's simple. The responsibility lies with them, right? As unfair as that may be. During a throw-in by A1 from the end line by Team A's basket, the throw-in is touched by B2 before it goes across the division line where it was recovered by A3. The officials rule a backcourt violation on Team A. Were the officials correct in this instance? Yes or no? It's under the basket. A1 is our thrower. They release a throw-in pass. Near the division line, A2 deflects the ball, and it goes into the backcourt. Right? A super common play. Teammate A3 collects the ball in the backcourt. Obviously, in this instance, Team A was the last to touch in the front court and the first to touch in the backcourt. And we know that by rule, a team is awarded team control during a throw-in. So in this instance, where the officials ruled a backcourt violation, which is very logical in this instance, were our officials correct? No, they're not. They're not correct, right? This is not an uncommon situation. Simple and straightforward. In order to have a backcourt violation, by rule, we must have team control. We do, right? No. The team control during a throw-in is only for the administration of fouls. In order to have a backcourt violation, we must have team control on the court, which is established by player control on the court. Player control on the court would be established by a player holding or dribbling the basketball. So the deflection by A2 near the division line does not establish team control on the court. Not until subsequently A3 grabbed it in the backcourt did we have that. So in this instance where the officials ruled a violation, were our officials? No. Got this one wrong. To wrap up this episode of Basketball Rules Expert. Hey, if this is the video content you find valuable, be a great time to do all of the things. Hit the like, the subscribe, and the notify so that you don't miss out on any of our new content. We have a tremendous group of show supporters who help fuel our broadcast, and we would like to shout them out right now. Dakota Ted, Jeff Crawford, David Peterson, Robert Adams, and Maureen Mooney. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? There will be a link down in the show notes below, and I'll put one up above. Awesome. We have I'm going to try it. We have additional video content available for you here. Here is our most recent Basketball Rules Expert. Here's a playlist on backcourt rules and National Federation of High School. Make your choice. Choose wisely. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. That's what we call ham-fisted. I'm calling that ham-fisted. Where am I? Oh, okay. Ay, ay, ay. What a mess. What a mess. Thomas, thanks for joining us today. Excellent. I have no additional plays for live stream viewers. Nothing. What do we get? What? That's the thanks you get. Hey, ouch. Is that your condition, Michael? Thanks. It's always a good time to take a nap. Yes, yes, indeed. I've got a cranky knee. I have a cranky knee. It's just a little achy, but no cartilage or ligament or issues. Just cranky. That's the way I describe it. All right, cool. I'm with you. I'm with you. Amazing. Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing about live streaming, unhappy, is stuff happens. So I've got a little technical glitch here today, causing me great consternation. I don't appreciate that. Consternation. Again, the vocabulary is... Indeed. All right, so make sure to join us for 5 Play Friday. We're going to have some good plays going. It is legal. Some people must be on a delay. We should have some good plays for 5 Play Friday. I'm going to have some. I'm going to have my monitor fixed here so we can make that happen. Looking forward to that. But I am going to say goodbye for the morning. I hope everybody has great games. If you have, are Wednesday games a thing in most of the country? I know I have a game tonight, boys varsity, and then I'll have a collegiate game on Friday, a couple of high school games over the weekend on Saturday, and then Sunday, my daughter's taking me to see the San Francisco 49ers crush the Dallas Cowboys in the divisional round of the playoffs. So, as you're watching the game, think of me way up on the 4th level. And indeed, Fight Friday. Mike clued me into a fight scenario. Ed Loveridge, nothing but the best, brother. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. YouTube, easy. YouTube's easy. I can download YouTube videos or I can clip YouTube videos. It's NFHS networks that's the most challenging, although I have found a workaround for that's making my NFHS play clipping easier. We have a shamanade in California. Wait, you're not in California, Joe. You're in Michigan? Huh. Oy, oy, oy. Yeah, Missouri. Got it. Thanks, Joe. It's hard. Awesome. All right. And with that, I will let you guys go. Hope all is well with you, and we'll see you on Friday. Make it a great one.
you.